What's up, guys? Welcome back. Right here is a 2022 Mercedes-Benz EQB. Now, this is the second fully electric Mercedes-Benz that debuted this year. The first one was the EQS, which is luxury sedan, and now we have this, which is actually the smallest three-row SUV that Mercedes makes. And today, thanks to Mercedes-Benz of Bonita Springs, I'm going to take you on a complete tour of this vehicle, and we're going to check it out from the exterior, interior, see what powers up this thing. At the end of this video, I'm going to take you for a drive with it. But if this is the first time we meet, my name is Matt, and here on Matt the Carguy, I post 2 car reviews every single week. So if automotive content is your thing, do me a favor, check out the rest of my channel. Hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, give me a like as well. Now let's get back to this. You might be looking at it and say, hey, it looks familiar, and that's because it is familiar. It's basically an electrified GLB. So instead of developing a whole new platform like they've done for the EQS, Mercedes decided to electrify an already existing model, which is the GLB. So let's take a look at it. There's a few characteristics on the outside that you can't miss that are different between this and the GLB. But overall, it looks very similar to that. It does have the same exact hood. It does have those 2 body lines that go across here, creating this raise in the middle, and 2 more subtle ones on the side. And this is where it gets different. So you have the completely different light setup. Now you have the LED performance lights, the fully LED lights, daytime running lights, turn signals, and this grille is all closed up. As you can see, it's all piano black and a huge Mercedes star on it. Now most of the vehicles, like even the GLB, they have an open grille to allow more air to get inside of it, help with cooling off the engine. There's no need for that. Now this part is open at the bottom, and it's finished off with this chrome trim at the bottom of this front fascia over here. This is just a trim element, so this has no function, and this is pretty much the front of it. Let's open this up. Let's see what hides underneath it. Let's take a peek underneath the hood here, and let's check this out. So instead of hiding this motor, Mercedes decided to show it to us. And this is one of the 2 electric motors, one in the front, one in the back. And this is the most powerful one. So Mercedes has the EQB 300 and the EQB 350, which is what we have right now. Now this one delivers 288 horsepower, 324 pound-feet of torque. The smaller version, or the less powerful version, gets 225 horsepower. Now, as with any of the electric motors, the torque is instant and the power gets delivered through the 4Matic system to all 4 wheels. If you look at this setup right here, I like how the Mercedes did the hood strut on one side that keeps the hood nice and tall, and there's no sound insulation, but again, this motor doesn't really make any noises. If you look at the side profile, it's almost identical to the one of a GLB. The only 2 differences really on the side, EQB badge and the rims. Now the rims, 19-inch rims, specially designed for this vehicle. Mercedes claims they are designed to reduce drag and improve efficiency. I like the design of it. 5-spoke design, we've seen it on many Mercedes brands. And then it does have these blue stripes in the middle, Mercedes in the center cap. As far as the rest of this vehicle, I like the satin chrome around the windows, this piano black on the columns right here. Now the satin chrome, or the polished aluminum, or rather, color continues on the roof rack. Pretty large roof rack, actually. And then, you know, you do have the cladding around the wheels that continues right to the bottom of the doors, and then you have the trim just right in the middle here. Keyless go, part of this Mercedes, you can see the turn signals blink and the vehicle locks. I don't have to press any buttons on the remote or on the door handle itself. And then speaking about the mirror, of course, you've seen the turn signals. It does have the blind spot assist as well, and they're power folding mirrors. So normally, like the smaller SUVs, most of them have the roof line that starts sloping somewhere around here. Now, this vehicle is available from the optional third row seats, which this particular one doesn't have, but that allows, that straight roof line allows for the maximum room inside. So the rear is very similar to the GLB, now with the one exception. Now you can see this light bar actually across the entire gate that connects the two lights, which you don't find that on GLB. All LED, very nice, very bright. That incorporates everything. So you have the reverse light, turn signal, brake lights, regular tail lights. Now you have the third brake right on top of it on this gate spoiler. As you can see, this is pretty much straight down. So they're trying to maximize the roominess inside of this vehicle, as we're going to check out next. But you have the exposed wiper over here, EQB 350 on one side, Mercedes logo that actually pops up, that reveals the camera, that keeps it away from the elements, it keeps it clean, and 4Matic on one side. They also have the chrome trim on top of the bumper to prevent it from scratching, and then the rest of it is matte gray with a couple of chrome trim pieces and the reflector lights. Now the gate is power, so let's open this up and let's see how much room we have. Check out the gate area over here. Starting with the lights, you have some illumination right on top of here, and then you have the buttons to close and lock the rear gate. Now check out the inside of it. Now this particular one doesn't have the optional third row seat, which is available, but we've checked that out on the GLB. So if you want to see what that is, you can actually check out that video. It actually only allows people up to 5'4" to sit in it, so that's essentially made for kids. But when you open this cover right here, what do we see here? You have a charging cable, you have a little bit more storage, and that is pretty much it. And I believe underneath here is where the rear motor hides. So there's not too much room, but I mean, for the class, it is pretty substantial. This particular one does have a cargo cover, retractable, so you can actually set it in place and prevent people from peeking at what you have inside. And then, of course, you have the seats that fold down, and you can see this is the 40-20-40 setup over here. Decent amount of room inside the second row seats. Now, if there's one thing that I would complain about, it's a little bit short on headroom. I'm 6 feet tall. I have about an inch and a half maybe above my head. That's maybe because this vehicle's got two sunroofs that I'm going to show to you in the interior tour. As far as the leg room, no problems here. I probably have 2 inches in front of my knees before I would hit that. And the seat is adjustable. Now I have it pushed all the way back, but I can move it back and forth if I need it to. And then of course I can adjust the recline by pulling on this loop over here and move it to my desired position. Well, let's check out the interior of it together. Starting with the door panel over here, you can see it's all black, but it does have some MBUX inlay over here, contrast stitching, aluminum looking trim, and then you can see that the ambient light that was just peeking through it just turned off right now. But you do have the ambient lighting on the interior of this vehicle. Twitter up on top, bottom speaker cover, a little bit more room in here. Let's move in here. I can see the seat is movable. You can see the rails underneath here, and the seats itself, they're MBUX, okay, pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy, not super comfortable to be honest with you. The middle console opens up, creating an armrest, and the cup holders are right inside of here. And then moving into the middle console over here, you have the vents for the back, and right underneath here, I hope you can see that, you actually do have your regular household power outlet and 2 USB ports, as well as a little bit more storage. And then the other thing you have your cargo nets in the back seats. Let's hear how this vehicle sounds, or how the door sounds when it's closing. Boom, super nice and solid thud. Let's see what we have on the front door panel. Very similar to the back, with the exception of this pretty cool looking trim. Now you do have heated seats in this particular one, no ventilated seats. That's a blank button right there. And then you have the window mirror lock controls. door handle with aluminum trim. Then again, you have this MBUX inlay, and then you have the gate opener, some storage in the bottom of the door, and you have a speaker cover. Now moving inside of here, Mercedes-Benz, now one thing that I've noticed and not really happy about it is the seats. Look at the adjustments. Now you do have the power lumbar support. Everything else is manual adjustment on the seats. Come on, it's a $60,000 Mercedes-Benz. You'd think they put power seats in it. I hope it's because of the chip shortage, and then they're going to come up with the versions that actually have it. So let's see what else is on this interior. We're going to take a tour of the interior of this 2022 EQB. First of all, let's take a glimpse at the overall design of it. I actually like it. I like the vents, I like the screens, I like this trim over here. This is like this 3D trim, and right at the bottom of it you have this piano black trim that kind of reflects it, so when you have the ambient lighting shining on it, it creates this 3D design, which is very nice. I have this polished aluminum trim underneath here, and of course the regular glove box. You have the little shelf on the glove box if you wanted to put your phone on it or anything like this. Now this is injection molding, so this is nice and softer, and then you have this 10.25 inch screen, and then we're back to the steering wheel. Now before we get to the steering wheel, I'm going to actually turn the power on over here. Same thing as you've seen on the regular Mercedes-Benz, and then you can hear this chime. Of course the vehicle comes to life. It's got this ambient lighting of it, but it's got 64 colors. In case blue wasn't your thing, you can change that. Now as far as the steering wheel, nice design, nice to the touch, you know, supports in the right places. And then as with any of the Mercedes-Benz, with the MBUX, which stands for Mercedes-Benz User Experience System, which are those two screens, the left side of the steering wheel basically controls what's going on in the instrument cluster. The right side controls what's going on right in the infotainment system. In addition to that, on the left hand side you have the cruise control settings, and on the right hand side you have the volume controls, phone controls, and the voice control. In the middle, Mercedes star. And let's move to the instrument cluster. So in the instrument cluster, you can see it's a pretty standard setup. Left hand side you have the speedometer. Now on the right hand side you have 25, 50, 75, 100. Is that a range, or is that the battery charging? And that's probably, it indicates whether the battery is charging or releasing power. We're going to check that out while driving. I'm not quite sure what that is. In the middle you have your digital miles per hour display, and vehicle's got 16 miles. It's a brand new car, just got here. And then when you hit this home screen on the steering wheel, you have the menu that pops up that's got several different features. So you have the assistance, phone, navigation, trip, radio, media, designs and display, and service. Designs and display, you have several different options in case you didn't like that. But if we put it at sport display, you still have the same gauge, it's just displayed a little bit differently. And right here in the middle you can also customize it and see what's actually displayed in here. So here's your consumption. So we're, you know, basically consuming 1.6 kilowatt hour average from start, constant, acceleration, coasting, okay, and from reset. So all different trips, and then display for full screen. You can change that in the electric or the eco mode. So you have 86 miles range in here, or maximum 94 miles, and that's if we turned off some of the electronics that we have in here. 86 miles is plenty. We're not going to test it for too long, but we're going to take it for a spin, definitely. And moving on to your regular infotainment system, you can see that you have a whole bunch of options as you've seen on the regular MBUX, and basically the same menu as you've seen on the infotainments or instrument cluster. So you have phone, navigation, which is a really nice navigation system. Curious if this particular one's got the augmented reality. I'm going to set it up and check it out, and you see that there's charging points that are actually marked over here. And then moving back to radio, you know, you have several different radio settings. So you have the FM, AM, Sirius XM, so depending on what you want to hear. Go back to media. No devices are connected at the current time, so USB, no Bluetooth audio device connected. Comfort, ambient lighting, so you have different colors. Okay, here's your 64 different color scheme. You want a red one or a pink one? Well, here you go. And if green is your thing, then you can set it up to green or yellow, whatever color your heart desires. You can have multicolor display, and you can either have the ocean blue waves. It's kind of an animation planning. I'm going to leave it at that for now. And then you can of course select the brightness. Okay, and we can set it up to wherever you're comfortable with. Sometimes it could be a little bit obstructive if you have it too bright. Go back here. EQ is something that we haven't seen on other models other than the EQS. So you have the charging options, you have the charging station search. Okay, so it tells you, turns on the navigation, tells you where your nearest charge stations are. And what's nice about it too is if you are actually looking for the station and you set this as a destination, the vehicle will actually prepare the battery for charging, so when you actually arrive there, it's going to be optimized for that. Consumption, so you can see all of that data over here. Energy flow, right now 45 charged, and of course we're not driving, so it's not going to show that. And then we have the acceleration, brake, as far as the vehicle and the operator's manual. You can check that out in here. Other settings for the vehicle, they'll include the quick access settings for some of the safety assistance packages. Now you have the assistance vehicle, light, and system. So you can definitely do a lot of customization here with the MBUX. And what I like that there's several different ways of controlling it. As I mentioned before, one of them is on the right hand side of the steering wheel. It's probably the most convenient one. Another one would be just what I did with the touchscreen. But if you wanted to have the old way of doing it, you still have the trackpad that Mercedes left on this. And this is actually one of the nicest trackpads that's available on the market. So scrolling down in here, you have the regular vents and then some hard buttons as far as the climate control settings. And then moving down here, you have a pad, which I don't see the markings for the wireless charging, so I'm not sure if they equipped this particular one with it or not. I don't see it. And then you have the regular power outlet, USB-C. Then you of course have your cup holders over here. You can make them bigger or smaller. And this is the trackpad that I was talking about. It does have several different drive modes, so let's actually check this out really quick. So you have the individual, sport, comfort, and eco, basically the same drive modes as you have on the regular combustion engine vehicle. We're going to put it in sport, and I'll leave it in sport for now. And right next to the trackpad, you also have the parking assist. You have your vehicle shortcut settings. That's for your quick access. This is your setup assistance, basically for your favorite. And then you have a volume, power button, navi, map, radio, media, and telephone. Those are your shortcut buttons. This is basically your palm rest. You push this button, opens a little bit more storage right inside of here. It's not huge, but you know, it's not a huge vehicle either. And moving up on top, over here, regular mirror, and then you have this setup with the lights. Now you have to actually push the button for the lights to go on. There you go, nice and bright. And then you can actually turn that door open lights on or off. That's pretty much it. You have the Mercedes Me, you have the SOS, and this is what would open your sunroof, which got the big sunroof in the front. It's pretty nice, wide, and it opens up. It lets a lot of air and light inside of this vehicle. And then you have this screen panel in the back, or glass panel in the back, that allows for more light to get inside of the cabin. And you can also close them off with like the semi-transparent cover. So this would be the interior of it. Now let's take it for a spin. So the EQB is technically not new. It's basically an electric version of the GLB. And, you know, it's probably good because you're familiar with the vehicle. It's just now it doesn't have the combustion engine. It does have the electric motors. And I said motors because it does have two, one in the front, one in the back. Two different EQB models are available, the 300 and the 350. And one of them produces 225 horsepower with the smaller motors, 288 on the one that we're sitting at right now. Now, as far as the range on the Mercedes website, it says up to 243 miles, but on the sticker itself, it says up to 227. So I believe that maybe because this is the bigger motor, it has slightly smaller range, which is still not a lot, consider a line of competitors going 300s and 400s. But at the same time, for a daily commuter, if you just want to get to work and back, you can easily swing that on 227 miles range. And especially you're driving a Mercedes-Benz. Now, I don't see any pricing on the Mercedes website. The one that I'm sitting at right now, it says that MSRP, the base MSRP is at $58,000, and that with all the equipment that this particular one has added to it is about $63,000. So, I mean, it is a little bit more expensive than its combustion engine counterpart, which starts at about $40,000. But then again, it's electric. Let's take it for a spin and let's see how it drives on the road. We're going to do a quick run and check out the acceleration. We're going to check out the cornering, braking, and we're going to take it back to the dealership. Overall, you definitely feel like you're sitting in the electric vehicle, and that's because there's no noise coming in. It's very quiet, it's very smooth, and in typical Mercedes fashion, you feel like you're in a high quality vehicle. It says 7.1 seconds 0 to 60, which definitely would be substantial as far as merging into traffic, but definitely won't win you any races. However, let's see how the power delivery is. It's nice and it's very smooth. Very little noise coming into the cabin. We're at 55 miles per hour, which is basically what the speed limit is here. I'm going to try to stop on the way back and basically do a 0 to 60 acceleration and see how does that feel. Now overall, so far, pretty impressive. Just like usually, Mercedes doesn't come up with anything that's not good. Now the one thing that I would have to complain about is the seats. No power seats, really, $63,000, and you get manual seats. Now that needs to be fixed. Okay, no matter if you like power seats or don't like power seats, if you're spending that much money, you should be able to order one with the option. Pretty nice turning radius, I tell you. It's pretty tight. Again, no surprise there. Most of the Benzes have a very tight turning. And we're in the sports mode. I just want to make sure. No, I'm in the comfort mode right now. So let's flip it into a sport mode and see if it makes any difference. I see just a stretch of road here that I can safely, you know, stop and accelerate from stop to about 50. Let's see. Instant torque, just like on all of the electric cars. It actually feels quicker than that 7 seconds 0 to 60. It's not overwhelmingly quick, just like Hummer EV that had 3 seconds 0 to 60. That's less than half of it, but it's definitely quick. I'm gonna hit the brakes a little bit harder. Coming up, nobody behind me, so I can check out the brake here. All right. Very nice, very small dive as far as the braking. It doesn't take a nosedive here, so that's very solid as well. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the good parts about it, it's a familiar vehicle that, you know, if you've owned the Mercedes-Benz GLB, it would be a super easy transition. It's just a different power plant to it. And you know, it is roomy for its class. It is a pretty cool looking, I call it the baby GLS, because that's kind of what it looks to me right now. It is available with the third row seat. However, it's worth to mention that the largest person in the third row seat cannot be more than 5'4", and that's actually Mercedes is very specific about it. So it's definitely made for children, not adults. But you know, it is there. So if you're doing carpooling and you have kids in the car and they're small, definitely. There's no other SUV this size that actually has the third row seat. That's probably a little bit smaller than like the Toyota RAV4 in my opinion. What else is good? I mean, the MBUX, you get the fully functional Mercedes-Benz user experience, you get all the features on it. What's bad? Okay, so the bad part about it, we'll start with the obvious, the seats. They're not power. They need to be power seats. The second thing that a lot of people might have an issue with is the range. This is definitely not going to be a vehicle that you're going to take on a cross-country trip because it only has 227 miles range. Now, however, if you are a daily commuter and you're commuting to work and back, this is not going to affect you, so it depends on who's going to be looking at this car. The third thing is it has a supplied cable that you can plug into your regular 110 volt outlet. The charging time is going to be a lot, and I know that because right on the sticker it says that if you use the 240 volt outlet, which you'd have to get it installed, the charge time would be about 8.25 hours. So it's over 8 hours to fully charge it, which is not bad. If you have that installed in your home, again, you plug it in and in the morning the vehicle is fully charged. And of course you can't forget about any of the charging stations, but the maximum is 100 kilowatt hour charge on this vehicle. Now the battery is only 70 kilowatt hour battery, so it's a very small battery comparing, let's say, to the biggest one that we've tested so far on the Hummer EV was 212. Most of the Teslas got over 100, so it is a fairly small battery. And to sum it all up, overall, a very nice vehicle. It feels good, it drives good, it's got good visibility. $63,000, I mean, it's not cheap, but it is within range of a comparable vehicles. So if you are considering an electric vehicle and you want to stay within Mercedes brand, definitely check this one out. If you're in Florida, check out the guys at Mercedes-Benz of Bonita Springs. They're a great group of people, and I'm sure they're going to be very happy to help you out with your vehicle purchase. Well guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making this for you, and I hope you learned something. And if you did, do me a quick favor, give me that like, thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, well, there's a little red button at the bottom of this screen. If you can do that for me, it would be awesome. And I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.